Hello, you're watching 6 News on the Hour. I'm Leonardo, Puglisi. The top stories we're following right now. A 56% increase in power prices by the end of 2023. That's the forecast for Aussies from some ahead of Parliament being recalled just before Christmas to tackle rising energy prices across the nation. Former Victorian Labor Minister and MP Adem Somyurek now likely to defeat the recent party's Fiona Patten in the Victorian Upper House, with the results set to be finalised within days. Shooters, fishers and farmers could lose almost all its New South Wales MPs after their leader survived a challenge just 4 months out from the state election. And Morocco defeats Portugal to become the first African nation to reach the Final Four in the World Cup, as fallout continues over the death of a US journalist who was covering the Cup in Qatar. Good evening. There's fears of a 56% increase in power prices by the end of next year ahead of federal parliament being recalled in Canberra. The Albanese government is right now aiming to pass legislation that looks to help Aussies amid rising energy prices, which have been seen across the nation. Reporter Adem Somyurek has the latest developments.
As power and gas prices rise, the National Cabinet reconvenes. The Prime Minister meeting with state and territory leaders to discuss the government's energy price relief plan. Queensland and New South Wales now on board.
Thanks everyone for coming together in this way.
At the end of the day, we work best when we work together, and I'm absolutely pleased with the outcome that has been achieved today.
This will cap coal prices at $125 per tonne and gas prices at $12 per gigajoule for 12 months. The Commonwealth will also establish the Energy Bill Relief Fund with up to $1.5 billion to bring relief to homeowners and small businesses.
The appropriate way to pay it is through state governments, because that's how you take money off people's bills rather than provide cash payments, and that's important so that you have a deflationary impact rather than inflationary.
This will also mean the federal parliament will be recalled next week to allow this legislation through, something the Greens and multiple crossbenchers do support. However, the coalition isn't fully on board.
Parliament, I can report, will be recalled next week to deal with the legislation, and I want to thank the Greens crossbench members, as well as the senators, including Jackie Lambie and David Pocock, who I've had discussions with today, who've agreed that it's appropriate that Parliament be recalled next week to make sure that this legislation can be carried.
Nowhere in the world has there been any experience of success in capping prices.
The federal government's certainly hoping for this to work for them after promising to cut power bills by $275 at the federal election in May, but they're now forecast to rise by 56% over the next 2 years. Adem Somyurek, 6 News.
Police say they've seized 5 tonnes of commercial-grade fireworks that were allegedly being smuggled into Victoria by an organised crime group. The group has also been accused of smuggling guns, with one of those accused found with cash, drugs, guns and at least 100 kilograms of fireworks. According to police, it is the biggest seizure undertaken by the Arson Explosive Squad in the state to date. Former Victorian Labor Minister and Independent MP Adem Somyurek is now set to make a political comeback. Results right now indicate he will defeat sitting Reason Party leader Fiona Patten in the Northern Metropolitan region. The Victorian Upper House is once again set to be full of minor parties, with the full results set to be finalised in just a few days. Reporter Lincoln Holmes says more.
There's one seat that hasn't yet gone to the polls in the Victorian state election, but the results for Labor are already clear. The Andrews government has won 56 seats, one more than their 2018 result, which was seen as a landslide. The regional Victorian seat of Narracon will likely go to the polls in January for a supplementary election, with the Liberals expected to retain it. In the Upper House, results are coming down to the wire. Democratic Labor Party leader Bernie Finn is a chance of retaining his seat of Western Metro, while former Labor Minister Adem Somyurek is likely to defeat Reason Party leader Fiona Patten in Northern Metro. The DLP worked with preference whisperer Glenn Drury at this election, but if the party does gain this seat, it'll also be largely helped by a high primary vote. Shooters, fishers and farmers are set to retain their seat of Eastern Victoria, while One Nation and Animal Justice Party could both win in Northern Victoria, although the AJP are likely to lose Western Victorian MP Andy Meddick. Darren Hinch's Justice Party has lost both of its MPs, with Sustainable Australia, the New Democrats and the Angry Victorians Party all set to lose their representation in Parliament. Liberal Democrats MP Tim Quilty appears to be gone, while the party's other MP David Limbrick is still in it. The Greens may only pick up one additional seat, and the big winner may actually be the Legalised Cannabis Party, who appears set to win South East Metro, Western Metro and Western Victoria. Transport Matters MP Rod Barton remains an outside chance to retain his seat, despite a primary vote of around 0.2%. Final upper house results are expected to be finished within days. Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
And 6 News will have special coverage of the Narrabeen supplementary election when it happens, likely next year, on air, online, and on our website, 6newsau.com. Well, the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party could potentially lose almost all its New South Wales MPs after the state's party leader survived the leadership challenge. Roy Butler attempted to take the leadership from Rob Borsak, with the former claiming that the other two SFF MPs, Mark Banasiak and Philip Donato, supported a change in leadership. Questions are now being raised over whether those MPs will actually stay in the party ahead of that March 26 state election. Donato telling the ABC he will make a decision very soon about whether to stay in the party. Butler saying he probably will. Helen Dalton, the party's only other New South Wales MP, parted ways with them in March and has sat as an independent ever since. Meanwhile, the Open Party, formerly Keep Sydney Open, has applied to change their name to Elizabeth Farrelly Independence. Now, Farrelly is a former Sydney Morning Herald columnist and ex-Labor member who is believed to have tried to run for the party, potentially in the federal seat of Reid at the May federal election, which of course did not eventually happen. At the same time, Reason New South Wales has not provided any explanation yet after applying to change their name to the Public Education Party. Now, the New South Wales Electoral Commission website says parties trying to run in an election should attempt to be registered at least 16 months out, meaning, unlike in many other states where at a federal level, a new party may have to take over or merge with an existing one to ensure they can actually contest in time. Overseas police have described an explosion in an apartment on the island of Jersey as a devastating scene. Authorities have confirmed they were called to the property just a few days ago after residents complained about the smell of gas. At least 3 people were confirmed dead overnight, with a hotline since set up for people seeking information about family members who may have been caught up in the blast. The island is a British Crown dependency off the coast of northwest France, home to just over 100,000 people. The former UK Chancellor's mini-budget contributed to the resignation of Liz Truss as Prime Minister, has admitted he got carried away in the role. Kwasi Kwarteng was sacked as Chancellor after just 38 days following the announcement of a package that included controversial tax cuts. He's told the Financial Times he was too impatient with the mini-budget. Liz Truss resigned just days after that resignation, with Rishi Sunak now just a couple of days away from overtaking Truss, who will then regain the title once again of the UK's shorter-serving PM at just 49 days. The White House has reacted after a US Democrat quit the party to sit as an independent. Arizona Senator Kirsten Sinema has left the Dems, who now have 48 seats, plus 2 independents who caucus with the Democrats, effectively bringing their total to 50, while the Republicans have 49. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre spoke to the media about the senator's decision.
We understand Senator Sinema's decision to register as an independent. The way that we see it, it does not change the majority, or it doesn't change the complexion of what our Democratic majority is going to look like in the Senate.
Now, Democrat Raphael Warnock was just re-elected in the Georgia Senate runoff. If the GOP had won it, the difference would have pretty much been 50-50, and that's, of course, before Sinema made that decision to leave the party. Fallout continues tonight after the death of a US journalist who was in Qatar to cover the FIFA World Cup. Grant Wall recently went viral after being detained for wearing a rainbow shirt. He died while covering the Netherlands-Argentina match with his brother, Eric Wall, saying in a video posted to Instagram that his brother was healthy and told him he received death threats. He added that, quote, "I do not believe my brother just died. I believe he was killed." while reportedly unwell in the days leading up to his death. He was 48. Overnight, more results from the World Cup, though. Morocco, the first African nation to ever reach the Final Four, defeating Portugal 1-0 in what may be the final time superstar Cristiano Ronaldo will be playing on the world stage. And France, this morning, defeating England 2-1. Now, as Ivan Ameli with a look at what's coming up later tonight on WAMN News.
Thanks, Leo. Tonight on a special edition of WAMN News, Mark McGowan is not as sweet as honey. Feisty exchange over diversity in personality politics as pre-selection looms. A WAMN News exclusive.
Also tonight, media diversity, power struggles and WA's democracy. How do they correlate? Peter Kennedy's special presentation.
COVID numbers continues to climb as cases reached more than 12,000 in WA.
A grassroots storybook initiative aims to tell the truth for First Nations people, and later Dr. Andrew Miller's comment. Join us tonight on the WAMN News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Alright, thanks to Ivan and Melly there. Now taking a look at tomorrow's weather forecast right across the country, and we've got wet weather across the southeast, while it's warm weather pretty much everywhere else. Brisbane showers 30 degrees, thunderstorms in Sydney thunderstorms and 27 in Sydney, 17 in Canberra, same in Melbourne as well, also the same in Hobart. Meanwhile, 18 and partly cloudy over in Adelaide, 31 in Alice Springs, sunny and 29 in Perth, and in Darwin, a warm top, pretty much the usual there, of 33. Reminder of the top stories we're following on 6 News this hour, and there's fears of a 56% increase in power prices by the end of this next year ahead of Parliament being recalled. The Albanese government right now aiming to pass legislation that aims to address rising energy prices, and former Vic Labor Minister Adem Somyurek is now set to make a political comeback, results indicating he will defeat sitting Reason Party leader Fiona Patten in the state's upper house. The results to be finalised in just a few days. That is 6 News for this hour. There is more news 24/7 on our website, SIXNewsAU.com, and on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Lit. Just search 6NewsAU to find us. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. We'll see you company. Good night. If you are elected as Prime Minister, can you promise to own up to mistakes and factual inaccuracies if you make them? And would you be willing to come back on 6 News?
I certainly would. That would be a pleasure. And I think we've seen during the campaign, I made a mistake. I fessed up to it, said it was a mistake, didn't try to blame someone else. I think that's really important. With the high office of Prime Minister comes responsibility. And one of my concerns is that this Prime Minister never accepts responsibility, always seeks to blame someone else. And we can do much better than that.
All right, we'll leave it there. Opposition Leader Anthony Albanese, thanks so much for your time and for joining us here on 6 News.
Oh, thanks for having me on the program on 6 News, and I wish you all the best. And I commit to coming back on at semi-regular intervals. I think is a fantastic initiative, and thanks for spending the time with me today.